Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Newell with System Surveyor. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, our spotlight on Turing Video. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping items. Please note that we've had a great response to today's webinar, so our participants are placed on mute. But at any time during the session, feel free to use the Q&A icon in the Zoom webinar interface, and we'll address all questions at the end of the session. Also, I'd like to note that we are recording this webinar, so if you miss anything or want to share with a colleague, look for an email from me, usually by the end of the day with the recording. With that, I'd like to introduce our panelists today. We are joined by Michael Hendricks of Turing Video. He is the Director of Sales Engineering with a professional background in networking and in retail loss prevention. Hendricks joined the Turing team about a year ago, and outside of work, Hendricks is an active volunteer in his community, serving as PTA supporter and volunteer for his local school district. And I'd also like to introduce Maureen Carlson, VP of Sales and Marketing at System Surveyor. Maureen is an active tennis player and has ample knowledge. Maureen, you've been in this industry for about 10 years too, is that correct?
Gosh, I am coming up on the
I know.
10 years. Yeah. Michael and I were just talking about how we have high school students now and all these things. I'm feeling older by the minute.
I know. Well, great. Well, I'd like to turn it over to you guys to kick it off.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Laura. Laura is, as many of you guys know who have been on our webinar, she makes these happen. And a special thanks to Michael Hendricks for joining today. This is their spotlight for Turing Video, and we're going to do some fun collaboration. And Michael and I have worked together a bit over the years, so he always comes super prepared and makes it a lot more fun to do. So thanks again, Michael.
And like usual, putting the pressure on. I really appreciate it.
Right. Well, we're going to keep this pretty informal and low key. In fact, part of this is going to, just hopefully be a highlight of your day to learn some more about Turing, a really exciting company, and how we're helping people to hopefully make this whole design process a little bit easier. So thanks so much. Just a little bit of our game plan today. I won't talk too much myself about Turing. There's a lot for Michael to share. He's got a great overview that we got to hear about, so I'll let him speak to that. We'll talk about why collaborative system design is important and how they've made their element profiles available to make this whole job a lot easier and to automate a bill of materials, which is kind of the dream, right? And then we're actually going to do a little role play. We keep it pretty conceptual, but at least you'll kind of get the idea, and actually magical things you can do on Zoom, and including different people in this process in one place. But we're obviously huge fans of the mobile site survey, and there's times you absolutely should be out in the field to do that. And then how to get Turing's videos, free element profiles, and a live Q&A. So how does that sound, Michael?
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to turn it over to you then. Let's have you do your spotlight for the next several minutes, and then we'll get back to collaboration.
All right. Thank you again for having me. So Turing AI is really trying to revolutionize the way we use video surveillance data. Currently, there's lots of the power of cloud computing can really allow us to add additional data to the video that we are collecting that makes it easier for our customers to search and find the information that's most important to them. You know, when we first got started, it is our founder's mission statement to transform the safety and security utilizing AI and robotics, and it became that mission, of course, unfortunately, due to a tragedy on their campus. So that while they were going to school getting their master's degrees, there was a student that was killed on the campus, and they looked around, and it was obviously a big thing, and it affected a lot of the students that were there. And so looking around, they saw all of the data collection points, the cameras, they saw guards, and they started to wonder, how could we use this data more effectively to prevent scenarios like this? Unfortunately, a couple of years later, another attack had happened and fatality later. But that's really where they decided, hey, you know what, we want to transform safety and security utilizing AI. That's what they went to school for, their doctorates. So Turing Video started about 2017. We have some locations in California, San Mateo, San Jose. That's where a lot of our R&D and development is done for the Turing Vision Cloud platform. And we have an experience center down here in the Los Angeles area, Irvine, California. So we're a fairly new company, but we are a well-funded, fairly new company. We have several investors. And you may know some faces from the Village Investment Group. But even as a young company, we've done a great job to start building our network of customers, and we've been recognized for the type of innovations we are making in our own AI analytics and cloud space. So yeah, so next slide. So Turing Vision is our cloud-based VMS platform, and Turing Vision makes it easy to identify the most important events by utilizing AI to bring them forward to you. So bring out the people, bring out the vehicles, and we add information to those people and vehicles, like being able to extract the face or the color or make and model of a vehicle. So it's very quick and fast to find exactly what you're looking for. You say what you need, you start the investigation in the cloud side of things, and again, you can click on a face, click on a person, and then see the video very, very easily, and even share it with somebody. So it's super fast and easy to do that. It's mobile friendly, and it's on the browser, so there's really no headaches in learning how to install the software. It's very friendly controls, like if you've ever browsed the internet and watched YouTube videos, you can pretty much navigate this software. So let's give a demonstration of what the software looks like. So this is a people detection. And so with this, we have a traditional Turing Vision camera. So this is part of our Smart Series camera. It's set up in an area. We send that information up to the cloud, and you can see that his face was extracted from that particular video. We can create a profile for a person. We can leave them unnamed. We can flag a person in a particular way. In this case, we are able to name that person, and by naming that person and utilizing that face, we're able to search for that person across multiple sites, multiple locations, very easily. So wherever this face showed up in video, he will appear, and it's easy. You don't even the unnamed faces, any face that we can extract from the video, you're able to easily search and find, as well as upload videos into the platform and look for. Upload photos into the platform and look for those people. On the vehicle detection side, it works very similarly, where we take a traditional video camera, we put it out, we draw an intrusion zone or an enter area, and we're looking to extract information from that event. So we add different detail like vehicle color, make, model, even the license plate number. If we're able to capture it at a clear point of view, then we're able to search for that information. So here you can see an example of being able to filter out all of the red cars, and then we can quickly play a clip and see if this is the car of interest. So again, super fast, super easy to use. So with our Turing Vision Cloud platform, we have some front-end hardware, our Smart Series videos, our Smart Series product line. And this product line consists of some fixed cameras, some PTZ cameras, and the NVR. And those are the element profiles that we've created for the System Surveyor tool. Every NVR that we sell actually comes with a bridge. So that middle object, the middle right, is our Turing Vision bridge. This bridge is where the transmission to the cloud happens. So the cameras and the NVR act as kind of the initial identification or the initial event. The NVR is the storage, and then the bridge sends it up to the cloud, where we then analyze the event and we extract additional information and present it to you in the format you saw on the previous video. All right, so the next slide. For the Turing Vision cameras, we do have several different body styles of cameras, and I do want to point out a couple of unique models in our Smart Series product. So on the left-hand side, we have some active deterrent cameras. If you're not familiar with what active deterrent is, the concept is the cameras recognize an event like a vehicle or a human, and then they flash or draw attention to the camera. So now it's not just sitting on the wall, it's actively flashing. And if a person sees a flashing camera or hears an audible message, because these will play audible messages, then they can maybe deter, they get scared and they run away. In the top middle camera, we actually have some vibrant view camera. So this is a white light camera, so 24/7 color camera. We have the varifocal, the bottom middle, so some varifocal domes, varifocal turrets, as well as varifocal bullets. On the right-hand side, a handful of PTZs. And then on the bottom right, this is a long-range zoom where we are positioning this as a vehicle capture camera that can get close enough to the vehicles to actually extract a lot of the data, like license plate information, as well as make, model, and color. But we'll see the full lineup on our website if you haven't already checked it out. So on the next slide, we do have some NVRs that go along with the Smart Series. So the NVRs, plug and play NVRs, we have a 4, 8, and 16 channel plug and play NVR. They are already bundled with the Turing Vision bridge. So if you buy the NVR, the bridge is in the box. All of the Smart Series product, by the way, are fully NDA compliant. So they are built with chips that are approved to be sold in the United States. And we do have a performance series of these NVRs. Let's go to the next one here. And we do have a 32 channel and 64 channel performance series NVR. The plug and play NVRs have the built-in switch in the back, and these performance series have, there's no PoE switch. You have to get a separate switch, but it's much more powerful. Again, coming with the bridge, but it has the Intel chipset inside so that it's got more bandwidth and more processing power overall to help support the AI to the cloud. All right, and I think that's all for my part.
That's great. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate it. I think it's a great overview and super exciting new technologies. So now we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about what this means for collaborating to design out solutions. And Michael, as he landed over with Turing, got in touch with us pretty quickly and said, well, I'd really like to build the element profiles to be available in System Surveyor, and we were really excited about that. And so maybe some of you are new to System Surveyor, maybe some of you have been with us for a long time, but the way we kind of think of ourselves being this really interesting platform in the middle of this conversation between the system integrator who's really working hard to bring new technologies and solutions. It's a lot for an integrator to keep up with everything. The enterprise or the organization, I see a couple people who are end users on here. They're physical security leaders, a lot of demands on their time. Michael, I know, has a high school student. I have high school and college, and I'm extremely grateful to the people who provide security and safety at the college environment. My daughter's 17 hours away from me, right? I want to know that that's happening. So, so that group is trying to buy technology from the integrators, and the manufacturers have a lot of new technology coming out. And I think what I'm seeing it every day, what we're doing is giving a place to visually collaborate for the best possible solution. So we're actually going to kind of demonstrate that right now, which is one of my favorite parts. So I'm going to escape out of here, and I'm going to switch over to System Surveyor for a moment.
You mean you're not using Paint anymore?
Oh, right. I forgot we were going to talk about Paint. Yeah. Do you guys remember? I'm going to compare Microsoft Paint to the very first video game I got, that this is going to date me, was Pong on the Atari, I think. Yeah, people are still using Paint to design systems. So you've seen it before, Michael, is that correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen several different designs. I even was guilty myself of creating a network diagram using Paint. So
Oh man, we have heard everything. In fact, Laura did a fun campaign where we said, what's the funniest way you've ever designed a system? And we had people on the back of napkins and on the back of cardboard boxes. And
what was it, a yogurt cap
back
or
of a
something?
yogurt
Yeah.
cap. I mean, that was, we're pushing it. So we're going to take it up a whole lot of notches. But one thing we try to do at System Surveyor is still keep it easy to use. I'm going to delete this one here so we can actually show you guys things live. Keep it easy to use. This is meant to be, you know, in the hands of salespeople, and many of them are technical and sometimes not as much, but everyone in the process. So I'm not going to give a full demo of System Surveyor, but we're going to do more of a role play. So this is just a little for fun. Let's say I'm the integrator, which is probably a terrible idea. Michael is from Turing, and I've asked him here because I really need his help today. And we've got Laura, who works with this high school, actually Austin High School, I guess we called it. And we're going to actually do a little bit of design. They've had some needs. They contacted me as the integrator, and but I'm pretty excited about this new Turing technology. Does that sound good to everybody? Laura,
Sounds
Michael, you on board? All right.
Sounds great.
I'm here
Okay,
for
great.
you.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michael.
I'm here for you.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, please don't leave me now. All right, so we'll have a little fun. We'll try to stay in character a bit here. We're on Zoom, right? So think about this. We've pulled up System Surveyor's cloud workspace. You can see that here. And we actually are integrated to Google Maps, or Google Earth, if you will. And before I did this, I wanted to look up this, you know, Laura's location and hone in on where she was having some issues with this parking lot. By the way, an important feature here is that it will set the scale. So Laura, we got the scale here so that we can do some pixels on target and be thinking about on a, you know, what's going to help you meet the application need. So
Great.
Michael, given that, you know, I think, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have cars coming in through here, and I think if memory serves, you wanted to do some license plate recognition to start. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. We need the recognition.
Okay. And Michael, what I would typically do is pull in a fixed camera, but I could really, or I think you were thinking about a fixed camera up in this area. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what we first want to do is, you said you were trying to detect license plates, and you'd like to be alerted to the say a license plate of a vehicle that shouldn't be on property anymore, or something of that nature. Is that correct, Laura?
That is correct, for the ones we
Okay.
flagged. Yes, sir.
All right. So we do through the software, we're able to do that. And traditionally, what we would do is we would put a camera looking in the direction of the travel. It looks like that's probably a U-turn. So we want to look more directly towards the front of the vehicle, and hopefully you have license plates in that area. And then what we're looking for, we're trying to recognize the license plate. So we're looking for the target distance, like how far away from the cars. So how far away do you think that's going to be? About 75 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
That's about right.
All right. So it looks like here on the camera advisor, we are able to put in the actual distance, and then for the recognition or identification, there's the different values here. So
yeah, and I'll just show here, just
Yeah.
if we were general surveillance at 75 feet at 20 pixels per foot, it would be awfully hard, Laura, for you guys to be seeing.
Yes,
that
that's
license
much too
plate.
small.
Yeah, that's much too small. So I think you were saying, Michael, the recognition level could be viable.
Yeah, somewhere in the recognition level or the identification level. So somewhere in this 5 megapixel or 6 megapixel range should be good enough to for the software to do its thing. So I think this is a good distance that we should be able to pull out some license plates here. So it looks like we can use a 5 megapixel camera in this area.
How's that look to you, Laura?
That looks great.
So think about that confirm and design validation that can go on. I know it doesn't always work at this pace, everyone, but that is very powerful as it's turning out for our clients of System Surveyor to go, I'm gonna get affirmation and confirmation as we go. Now, going from there, so it kind of guided us to what camera we want. And in previous pixel calculators, a lot of times you think about which and our CEO talks about, goes, oh, well, I need a 5 or 6 megapixel camera, versus calculating it from what the need of the visual is. So that's the way we think about it. All right, so I'm going to click on attributes now. And by the way, if I were on the iPad, I would, and actually, frankly, on the web browser as well, we could get pictures. So that's a really common thing. Laura, if I were out there, I'd probably be taking a picture of where we would want that camera installed, where we want that camera to point to. That's super powerful for us as an integrator and to serve you. But I won't get into that demo today. But so now I'm going to go to attributes and hey, Michael, we did what you guys recommended and we uploaded the element profiles. So I understand there's this drop down menu and we've got a variety. And so were you suggesting that I do a 5 megapixel search? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, so I think what we want to do is as we've loaded the element profiles, we've made every descriptive term. So if it's a twilight vision or vibrant view, so there's other terms that are referred to by our cameras. But in our case, the megapixel resolution is what we were looking for. And I think we want to go with a 5 megapixel or 8 megapixel bullet camera. So we could search for bullet or we could search for 5 megapixel. And yeah.
I gotta do bullet.
All
I know
right,
which one's gonna narrow us better, but
yeah, either one. And so now it looks like we have a couple of different options for the 5 or 8 megapixel. So let's go ahead and choose maybe the third from the top or the second from the top.
Okay. So sorry, this one right here.
That
the
one
third
there,
one?
yeah.
Is that okay?
There we go.
Great.
That one should work.
Excellent. Now, what I love that this is doing for us as the integrator is it's going to actually do a lot of auto filling out this information. And this is actually fulfilling and bringing in is actually doing two things at one time. One is it's starting to fill out my bill of materials for my customer. And number two is it's actually going to start creating a digital as-built, because if we actually implement this at the end, I've got all the details. I could actually grab installation and functional information, but we're going to focus right here now. Because we're really focused on are we at the right Turing camera? So I'm going to open this second URL file. This is all pre-populated. And Michael, is this the one you were thinking of?
Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. Does this look good for you, Laura? Is this a camera?
Yes, that looks great.
All right.
Excellent. So you can have spec sheets and all of that. And I come back here and we go, okay, super, got that part done. So for time purposes, we'll think about some other areas. Now we also talked about these are entrances right here. And these two sections, that corners in the courtyard. And there's actually another one over here. Now, Michael, what were your thoughts there?
I think we had originally wanted to have a camera that was moving around, right? So that you could actually go left and right and kind of look over that entire area. Is that what we communicated, Laura?
That's correct. Yes.
So we were maybe thinking about putting a PTZ here in each of the location. It gives us a little bit of freedom to move around. So move the camera around and look in both directions. But it helped us to really monitor that front entrance. So we were going to try maybe the 2 PTZs here in the corners.
All right.
All right.
Is that what you guys are thinking?
Mm-hmm. And
That
Michael,
looks
on
good to me.
these,
About you, Laura?
yeah, those are great. And Michael, what is the recommended PPF for the facial recognition in the algorithm?
So if we're doing facial recognition or LPR, we actually have a 90 PPF, somewhere around 300 by 300 for the license plate, and about 90 PPF for like facial recognition.
Great.
So the closer, as they walk closer to the camera, then we get a better detail for sure.
Okay.
Great questions, Laura. Always learning over here. Now we also needed to think about the accessories we were going to need with this camera, but let's pick the camera first. A little less in terms of options here, so I may not need to do as much narrowing on my search. But what were you thinking there based on her question?
I think of the 4 megapixel 25 times zoom. So the top camera should be in more than enough for this smaller area.
Okay, let's open that camera and take a look. So we've got it's a good looking camera there, Laura. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks good.
PTZ dome. And, I know one thing that we've done several times is had to think about mounting. And in the PTZ cameras, Turing has actually, and is going to be filling out the other ones, the accessories that might be needed. So notice there's wall mounts and pole mounts and so forth. So let's go back to our diagram here, or our plan here, and go over to this tab called accessories. And I'm hoping what you can do, Michael, is help us narrow down to what we needed. You want to talk us through that?
Yeah. So as this should be mounted, it's going to be mounted on the wall. Is that correct, Laura?
That is correct.
And the wall, you said it was a pretty thick wall, maybe a brick wall, so there's not a lot of space for wires behind. So we would
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So what we were thinking here is probably a wall mount with the junction box to allow us to, be able to store all the cables in the back. So I think the wall mount with junction box A2 is probably going to be the right selection for this product.
Great.
So you all might be wondering, what is Maureen doing? I'm actually narrowing down. So think about hundreds. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine how many accessories are possible. Maybe not just from Turing, but in general. What they've done with the element profiles is put, the 5 or 6 that would be common. And you may not know that till you go on a site survey or you meet with Laura or to have some knowledge about the site. So we were able to narrow down. And were we going to need this cable gland for junction box?
It's an optional connection, but we're going to come in through the back. So I think
so we're going to narrow that down. So we actually deleted the ones that we don't need. And we can put price and labor hours. That can actually be pre-populated as well. And again, in the past, by the way, if you were a System Surveyor user, you actually kind of sort of hand type those in, but this is actually coming, it's connected to the element profile. You can narrow that down. And now you've gotten a much more accurate accessories and bill of materials for the cameras.
And with the Turing profiles, if you go back to our data sheet one more time, the Turing profiles will help, that data sheet will actually help you kind of understand what it looks like. So you may not understand what a pendant mount looks like or a parapet mount looks like. Unfortunately not shown, but this will give you the information that you're kind of looking for, making sure you're selecting the right one as well.
Great. Okay.
That's great. And then remember, it's not all about the pre-sales. We post-sales, someone actually knows what was, or post-sale and needs to be installed. This could be a great data point to go to, right? So we have all those visuals together. So I'm gonna, that's, save, always smart, save. Same thing we could be doing with this PTZ, but we thought we would actually broaden out and show you just a couple more things before we don't want to miss our Q&A discussion. Now there's another, by the way, there's another, maybe we thought about fixed camera over here. There's another entrance over here. Is that right, Laura?
Yes,
so
correct.
Traveling down that way. Again, we could select cameras. We won't spend all of our time over there just for demo sake today. Now, of course, Turing, you all also offer an NVR, right?
Yeah, so we do have several different NVRs, either plug and play NVRs with the switches built in, or some larger NVRs, 32, 64 channel NVRs.
Of course, an NVR is probably not outside, but just for conceptual, we're going to give you the idea here. So NVR, let's go to the attributes. Again, Turing has the element profiles, and you said a 32
channel performance.
There we go. We can select that. Again, functionally, it's going to give you some of the details of that particular NVR. We can open it, show that to Laura. Nice clean piece, right?
Perfect.
Great. And then again, if some of you haven't done this before with System Surveyor, we're not just about video surveillance. You could be doing your access control work, or you could be doing infrastructure such as cabling. So if you pull flex cable path and we put a plus sign here to the NVR, I probably picked the wrong side to do it with, but we can make some connections about how that cable will run. And remember, I'm doing very, very basic things here. You guys are probably embarrassed by how I'm doing it, but what I'm trying to show here is that because you have the scale, you could actually be finding out the distance and the lengths and the type of cable, HDMI, Cat5, all the different types. And it's got a flexible capability, so you can actually move around and determine. That would be a funky cable run, but you get the idea. And we can run all those cable runs. So as you're going here, I don't know if we actually set this up, but just for conceptual, you would be able to also do an estimated budget range. So if we didn't go that far in the demo, but if Laura had told us, hey guys, I really need to stay within $40,000, we could be doing some trade-offs and making some of those decisions. And we also have the capability to do some comments. So in fact, I could actually invite Michael and Laura to this whole plan. And, or maybe others on my team that really know a lot about cabling or NVRs, and I could ask them, you know, will this cable work? And it works a little bit like if you've ever used Slack or SharePoint, and you can use the @ sign and bring up, and I say, Christopher Hugman, I have a question for you. See FCAM 2, is that correct? And he can have it set up so that it will email him that there was a question very specific to this survey at this site and location. So it just creates some more. I guess the last thing I was going to show here, I think I was going to show just a moment on reporting. Did I miss anything, Michael or Laura, as I step away from this?
That was great.
I'm good.
Okay, great. Another interesting thing you could do here is just be looking at what's proposed versus in place. So we're seeing some more of the end users go, maybe I should map out what I have in place and then do my budgeting and estimating. Now I'm going to also go up to reports. I'll keep this pretty high level, but what we were doing that whole time was we were creating a bill of materials. Sometimes I like to go to the Excel reports and do the bill of materials. It might show a little bit better with the accessories. We'll hit export, but you can also do it in PDF, depends what you're trying to do next with it. I'll go to created reports, refresh. Let me actually open. I may have to actually switch my window here because I think I'm not showing that right now. Give me one moment. So we'll test my Zoom capabilities. Stop sharing. I'll start sharing again, and I'll show you that Excel real quick. So here we are for Austin High School. Can you guys see that now? Can you confirm? Yeah. Okay, yeah, great. Nice. So we had gotten 3 PTZ cameras on there, the fixed camera, remember, our NVR, and then we actually have, in the gray, you would see the actual accessory. So the PTZ wall mount with the junction box. So that's a great way to look at it. And there's some other, I won't get into a lot more reporting, but it gives you kind of the concept. Any questions, or Michael, any comments about how you imagine people using this in the whole supply chain fund that we have going on?
So I've actually was able to send this over. We designed our small office here with the Irvine, and I gave them the cable path runs, and I told them what kind of how many feet we needed and how many feet of the existing cable we already had from a previous install, and they were in awe. They were able to see everything, and they actually asked me, how did you design this overall? Mm-hmm. So it was kind of, I would say, the reporting part really helped set it apart from the previous design that we had sent them. And being able for them to see it and it split out like this. So I have a very positive experience working with this report section.
Great. Yeah. And so cable path would, run a little bit differently, and it'll give those exports of a lot more detail there. And we have our classic reports. Some people would prefer to view it that way, and enhanced reports are prettier, I would say. But I will head back over to our presentation here and just kind of wrap up. And then we really want to like to make sure we definitely have time for a Q&A. We see ourselves as that collaborative system design platform. I hope that you guys got a little bit of a taste. I mean, that's one, there's so many scenarios that could happen with System Surveyor, but meant to be easy. And from an ROI perspective, a lot of people are saving a lot of time in that design and the constant back and forth, increasing their sales conversions, driving up profit margins, depending on which role you have in the world, right? If you're an integrator, these are all, these two are probably pretty important. If you're an end user, you're kind of focusing on probably the 2 head ends of that. And then I will bring it back over here to how to get to Turing's information. From our manufacturer partner page, we are agnostic in terms of partners, but this has been a huge relationship building piece. You can go to our partner page. You can click on, Turing also has a direct landing page. If you're a Turing partner, there's some advantages for you to try it and to get a discount for your first year. And then you would actually be able to click and get to the vendor catalog. And I believe on Turing's page, you guys have a place. Michael, maybe you're best to talk about this one.
So and then ours is under the resources. So we are actually have a link back to System Surveyor to sign up for your first year as well. Start your trial utilizing code Turing. I don't know if that's true or not, but we take you back to System Surveyor as well. Under the manufacturers page, we go to the resources, Smart Series, and then element profiles, and that's where you'll be able to download those profiles and or click the link and sign up for System Surveyor.
Yeah, so either path you can get to the element profiles. We were just updating those the other day, or the team was. So, and they're adding more of the accessories, which is a brand new feature. We're actually have a webinar about that in the next day or so, or actually on Thursday. And learn more about accessories if you get a chance, because it's a pretty cool new technology. So they'll be adding, and our other manufacturers are going to be adding in their accessories as well. So I think with that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to send it back to Laura for a Q&A, and maybe I'll go back to that last slide.
Yeah,
see if we have any questions.
And thank you all for your patience. We've got some great questions. Keep them coming. I think this one goes to you, Michael, but on the fixed focal cameras, such as 2.8 mm or 4, do we show the field of view as fixed?
Yeah, so on the Turing element profile, because of the scale on the mapping, when we put in a fixed 2.8 millimeter lens, or we have the option for 2.8, 4 millimeter, so you select that model and then it becomes a fixed scale. So it doesn't, the area of field, or the field of view that covers the blue, the blue wave that looks out, that's fixed. You can't move it in and out or forward and back. You could set the distance that you're looking, the target distance, but as far as the left and right, it'll stay fixed when you're designing the profile. We did actually pick we picked mostly varifocal lenses. So
great. Okay. And I think this one goes back to you again, Michael. What are the analytics used by Turing Vision platform to do the AI?
So what we're looking for the AI, we want any type of intrusion zone event or enter area event. In our platform, or in the NVR, we refer to them as VCAs, or video content analytics. So by enabling the VCAs, enter area or intrusion, you're able to filter by humans and vehicles, and you just set the zone, check the box, and save, and then it'll start creating events to the cloud.
Oh, great. Okay. Do I need to pay for the Turing Vision platform for the AI on all the channels?
Yeah, this is a great question. So Turing Vision, right now we are, this is a way for integrators to actually build a recurring revenue model. So this is a subscription service for the Turing Vision platform. We actually have a per channel, so you can do all channels with analytics and pay the monthly subscription fee. Or you can do singular channels and select maybe 8 or 10 cameras to do the analytics, and then the other cameras they would just stream through the Vision platform. So yes, it is a kind of a recurring revenue model for the integrators, so that they can start building their business in that fashion.
Great. Okay. And Maureen, I think this next one's for you. Am I required to have Wi-Fi if I'm out on site to use systems?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're not if you're using the iPad app on the tablet. In fact, it's kind of always been a really important differentiator for the mobility with System Surveyor. In fact, we had our CTO the other day was up with a customer up in the far reaches of Oklahoma, and he was like, well, there was definitely no Wi-Fi there. But in a lot of instances, it's actually a best practice to not be connected. It is the native application for iOS on the iPad. So if you're in a sensitive area, or when you're going in and out of Wi-Fi on a fast moving site survey, that's not the best scenario. You're offline, you do your design, your drag and drop, you take your pictures, and as soon as you get back to Wi-Fi, that's when you're going to want to sync that back up to what we call your cloud workspace. And we're hosted in Amazon Web Services. And we've got some really great articles about, doing your setup to make sure you have best practices. Some people also like to save their photos to their camera roll on their iPad just to be super duper, we all know it's not lots of times to go out and do these site surveys. So there's some smart things you can do there, but that's just kind of a backup. And then, sometimes it's smart to clear those out. So I hope that answered the question.
Great. Okay. And Michael, I think this one's for you. Are there any camera models that connect directly to the cloud?
So with the Turing Vision platform, we're actually about the NVR and the bridge. So we would always have an NVR as the head-end device. And again, every NVR is sold with a bridge. So that's how we're going to get the information and perform the AI in the cloud. And we've also been asked, and I'm just going to go, we've also been asked about the OnViv capability. And so we are able to support third-party cameras and also add some AI to those third-party cameras and bring them up to the cloud as well. So we could take some existing, we'll call it not so smart cameras, and then add them to the NVR and the bridge, and then we can perform some AI that way as well. So hope that answered the question.
Great. Okay. Well, and if there aren't any other questions, go ahead and shoot them in right now. And Maureen, I'll hand it over to you and Michael to conclude.
Okay, excellent. Well, I just want to say huge thanks, Laura, and then of course to Michael. Always such a professional experience to work together. There's a lot of efforts that go into making sure that we can do this, and I hope it was meaningful to the team or to everyone who took 40 minutes out of their day. And please come and visit us and let us know how we can help. That's what we're here for. And by the way, we're going to be at ISC West, and we're going to be in booth 5064, so March 23rd through 25th in Las Vegas. Please come see us. It's been far too long since we've been able to do that in person, and we're really excited to be out there. Many parting thoughts, Michael, from your side?
Yeah, so from my side as well, we have the shameless marketing plug as well. We will also be at ISC West, so you could also come out to visit our booth. We are now in a new location, and the number is escaping me right now. Because we've changed to a larger booth size, as well as if you wanted more information about Turing Vision, we are actually having some of our own webinar series that you could come and learn more about Turing Vision and the power of AI and how the software works a little bit more clearly. If you head over to our website, you can sign up for one of those webinars. We're also looking to, if you want to know more about our software.
Great.
Yeah, that was a pretty high level. I guess we had one more question come in.
Yeah, Michael, we had one more question. Does the Turing video do the AI analytic on edge or on cloud?
So actually the cameras perform some of the initial AI on the edge, and then the bridge will analyze the event, and as we send it up to the cloud, we reconfirm, if you would. So we kind of again analyze the image itself again one more time to make sure and start extracting more of the data. So it does help to actually eliminate some of the false alarms that would be directly from the edge product on a camera side or NVR side. Once we see it in the cloud, we will double verify that there is a human, there is a vehicle, and add additional searching details to those events. So it's a combination of both.
Good stuff. I'm glad we caught that one at the end. Good eye, Laura. I saw that one come in too. Well, thanks a million. I think we'll probably wrap it up here, but you know how to get to both of us. We're available, and really appreciate the time again, Michael. I'll see you out in Vegas.
Yeah, see you there. Thank you everyone for joining.
Okay, have a good one.